Morning, everyone. Apologize for the delay in starting today's webinar. Right now, I'm actually in a WeWork spot here in Dallas. So I'm going to actually start without any further ado the today's topic about chatbots. In a moment, will be sharing my screen. And if there are any questions, as always, please feel free to either type it here in the group chat, or you can email us as well on marketing@mconnect.com. So I'm sharing my screen to everyone. So I want to make sure that you guys can see it. And this is our today's topic is again around chatbots. All right. And I also apologize that I actually have to stop this maybe 5 minutes before the end of the webinar here around 9:55. I mean, it's around 10:55 a.m. Right. So obviously, this is whatever topic we typically select. It goes around the restaurant marketing or small business marketing, and in this case, also we will be focusing mostly on or giving examples of how chatbots can be used for restaurant purposes. But the same principles or methodologies can be used for any kind of a small business, right? This is a nutshell of who we are, founded in 2015 with a focus on data-driven approach. Again, focus on restaurant marketing, and we try to get customer data from different sources and use this customer data to better come up with better marketing strategies. So today we're going to talk about three major points. We're going to briefly discuss what are chatbots, when they were first introduced, and all those kind of things, and why, as a business, why you should basically look at the chatbots. What are the primary business drivers for the chatbots? And then finally, we will cap it off using some of the resources and how to go about creating a chatbot and all those kind of things, right? So again, of late we've been hearing about chatbots with voice recognitions and AI and all those kind of things. But chatbots they are actually have been in business for a very, very long time. Since 1966, as you can see, the very first one is called Eliza. But of recent, like with social media and with the advent of AI and voice recognition and all those kind of new technologies, the chatbots actually have gained significant importance within the business context, right? So again, so basically Alexa from Amazon, you can actually order through Alexa, you can listen to music, you can get like updates and whatnot. You can actually manage your home settings and all those kind of things. So that's at a very high level. The business or the use of bots or chatbots specifically for business has increased tremendously over the past 2-3 years, and we expect that to even more increase with the search being done over voice and ability of the IoTs and all those kind of things that can enable remote voice controls and all those kind of things, right? So again, at a very high level, this is the definition of what a chatbot is. It's nothing but like a software program that can be used to uh, manage stuff. And specifically here, when we talk about chatbots, we are talking about text-based, wherein bots can send out responses to any replies or queries or anything like that, right? And there are two kinds of chatbots, right? One is depending upon machine learning, as in like they are actually replacing a human being, wherein you say they would actually take the context, they would, based on their past experiences and different AI algorithms, they will find come up with the apt response. Like for example, if you are asking how's the weather today, or how can I actually drive from point A to point B, how long it's going to take. So obviously the chatbot is actually going to look at the traffic conditions, the weather conditions, and all those kind of things, and if there are any accidents and all those kind of things, and come up with a response based on that. That is basically based on machine learning and artificial intelligence. And then there are actually other simple chatbots, which are like, obviously this is a keyword based, in sense like, for example, let's take, you're trying to chat with a bank, and you want to know what are the interest rates. So you just basically say what are the interest rates, and they would know they're actually looking for interest rates, and they would come back and say, okay, these are the interest rates, or what are the open hours for the bank, and all those kind of things, right? So in this case, in the simple chatbots, again, if there's no AI, there's no contextual information. It's all driven uh, by the keywords and all those kind of things. And then you might not actually get the same answer, or you might not even feel at that point of time you would actually know that you're chatting with a machine or someone, because the response is a cookie cutter kind of a thing, right? Um, the best thing about chatbots is, again, obviously we've been talking like in terms of like what in terms of like why chatbots have grown in significance, because of their lightweight, in sense that like chatbots can be used on your social media, they can be used on your website, they can be used on any other devices, without actually having to download another application or anything like that. So this means it's a lightweight application, or it's like everything is mostly driven on the server side, right? And then if you look at the numbers in terms of like how many people are actually using, it's not a question of number of people are using, but let's take an example of Facebook itself. Over the past few years, the Facebook Messenger actually has grown in importance, because of the numbers of the messages people are actually sending back and forth. And there is a growing trend in terms of creating chatbots on the messenger. How about now, guys? Can you hear me? All right, apologize about that. Um, Moving on, right? We talked about, I'm not sure how much of um, we lost in terms of the voice, but I'll just quickly recap whatever we have discussed so far. Uh, we've talked about like the history of chatbots and why chatbots are important from small business perspective. Uh, so that again, the primary driver for customer for a chatbot is basically customer satisfaction, ability to um, ability to provide information to the customer at the right time within a matter of seconds, right? So that's the bottom line in terms of why a business needs to have a chatbot, right? And then we're going to actually specifically talk about how chatbot can be used across different stages of customer lifecycle. Again, at M Connect, we actually have come up with this A to A customer engagement model or customer lifecycle, where we have divided the customer phases into or customer journey into 5 phases: awareness, engagement, acquisition, loyalty, and advocacy. Across all these stages, one can design a chatbot to increase awareness, to basically engage the customer, or to able to acquire the customer, or to increase the loyalty and also advocacy as well, as in like referring the brand to others. And we're going to go in each stage as to how a chatbot can be used to enable or to basically assist a business across these 5 stages in terms of customer engagement, right? Um, so, from the awareness point of view, right? Again, a chatbot can be actually used to create awareness in terms of, like, let's take this example, right? Like of a Facebook. You can actually create a chatbot in terms of sending out mass messages uh, about your specials for today, right? Like if again the way you can do it is like if a customer is has interacted with you, then Facebook enables you to message to that customer. So it's basically opening a communication channel. So you can actually start communicating with that particular customer, saying that, hey, today's specials or like buy one get one free or something on those lines, right? So that it enables the customer to think about the number of like as in like this they are aware of this particular special that is running for today or the spring special or something like that. Again, sports. This is again some statistics that shows that it enable like basically if you have some kind of a chatbot present, it increases like in terms of the loyalty or in terms of like the number of as in like in terms of the response rate. It increases the affinity of the customer towards that brand. And you as a business, you should be able to say that, like for example, if you're offline from 11 p.m. to 10 a.m. or something like that, you should be able to create some kind of standardized message saying that, hey, we will be right back with whatever questions, but in the meantime, take a look at these FAQs or something like that, right? So it enables the customer, if they're visiting you during off hours or during peak hours, that they have to wait for you, or you can direct them to certain landing pages to provide them information and all this kind of things, or get more information through your social media sites or through websites, right? So the very initial stage of using a chatbot to increase awareness is to, as we said, like ability to communicate to them, saying that you have these kind of specials or something like that, or trying to get more customer, like which balls to the next phase of engagement phase, where you want to say, hey, if you have these are the certain set of questions that people typically ask. Do any of these questions or answers to these questions solve your visit to our website? If not, please provide us your information, right? Again, the engagement is here. In this case, we are asking something from the customer to provide to you as a business. In this case, you can actually obviously create like a AI powered messaging service so that you would know that, like, again, I'm taking restaurant as an example. Based on your order online, which was placed like a couple of days back, you can try to engage with the customer saying that, hey, how was your experience? Can you let us know if there's anything that we can do? And if, as another case, let's assume you're also integrated with your reputation management portals. So if they have given a 5-star review based on their visit recently, then you can actually go back to them with a personalized message saying that, hey, thank you very much for giving us this 5-star message. By the way, we saw that you recently placed this pepperoni pizza, and here is a deal that we actually have going on right now. Buy one get one free or something like that. So you are kind of like engaging the customer with these personalized messages at the right time, and the ability to do that is very, very crucial for you as a business, so that the customer feels special, they feel appreciated, and they also feel that, hey, these people are actually really care about me. And the way you can actually do it is like, you can actually have hundreds of people going through their online order, going through their real communications and all those kind of things, or you can actually have a simple chatbot which can be integrated to these back-end portals for you to start integrating, as in like start engaging with them, right? If it, um, we've talked about after hours services, so you can actually have very specific message saying that, hey, you visited us during peak hours or after hours. These are the set of questions if you have, or typically these are the questions that are asked. If these questions do not answer, or they do not actually cater to your needs, please submit this form, and so on and so forth, right? It can also generate leads, because when the customer fills in the form, that means there are two things happening. One is the FAQs that you actually have is either outdated, or you need to actually update the questions so that the right information can be provided to the customer, so that going forward people do not actually have to bother you, or they can actually place an order or something like that. And the second thing is also happening is that you are getting some kind of customer information that can be used for further acquisition, or further other kind of communication that you would like to do, right? Um, so we just talked about like the awareness and the engagement phase. Now we're going to briefly talk about acquisition, right? Yeah. Again, chatbots can be used for acquiring customers or making them purchase something. Like, again, we talked about Domino's having like something where you are trying to tell them that you can place an order through emojis or text messaging, right? And the other thing is also you can have to create a call to action in your, like we talked about in Facebook messaging, or in any of the Slack messaging, or any of the bots. You can actually create a sense of urgency for the customer, saying that, hey, place an order today only and get free shipping, or something like that, that will enable your customers to place that order, so that they are actually getting that offer or deal, or some kind of a special coupon or something like that. So again, here we can be used for um, the sales process, or from a customer acquisition point of view, so that the customers, they don't actually have to wait for someone. It's easier for you to take a delivery or pick up, or basically sending an emoji will place an order. Like, let's assume you have a pepperoni emoji and you want to place an order using pepperoni emoji and some kind of a 14-inch pizza or something like that. So this way, it will enable people or your customers to place an order or to reserve or something like that. Right? At the same time, it also enables. Again, we talked about, like, for example, if you have a bot which is integrated with your Yelp ratings, and someone placed an order, right? So at that point of time, you see that this person actually has purchased a pepperoni pizza, and but you want to push your desserts or your drinks or something else. So you can actually tag along those things, saying that, hey, you recently made a purchase of pepperoni pizza. but we also have this one, this special going on today itself. Buy one pepperoni pizza and get 50% off or 5% off or something off on dessert. Or you can turn it around and say that buy two desserts or two drinks and get 10% off on pepperoni pizza. And obviously, if the person likes pepperoni pizza, then they might basically be tempted to kind of like take up on that offer, right? Um, Given that we are trying to get the customers to make a purchase, it means you are able to increase your revenues with reduced costs, because the costs here from a chatbot point of view, once you create a chatbot, operationally there's not a whole lot expenses that you actually have to incur, and that means you are basically increasing the revenue or the top line without impacting the bottom line a lot. And then it's also that the customers can expect consistency in the sense that, like, hey, on a Monday morning I'm going to get a chatbot message or some kind of a message from this business which would actually say that, hey, it is consistent in the sense that once you actually program the bot, they're going to actually do the job in terms of sharp at 10 a.m. on Monday morning, an email has to be sent or a text message has to be sent or something like, so that it's easier for customers to expect that, okay, Monday morning I'm going to get like a special for the day kind of a thing, right? The fourth stage is loyalty, in sense if once the customer actually has a consistent communication, or they know that the brand is reliable and all those kind of things, then they will start looking at, like, from a loyalty point of view, as to like, hey, I like this brand, and the chatbots can be used to convert these people into loyalty members, in the sense that, like, you can, again, this is something related to the call to action, right? And also ability to send offers which are very personalized, which engenders the loyalty, because the customers feel that, hey, this brand knows about what I recently purchased, where I basically gave a 5-star rating, and because of that, when you actually push them saying that join up for this loyalty program, they're more likely to join than just asking them without any kind of messaging that makes them feel special, right? Um, so again, this is like specifically because from a loyalty stage, you are like kind of tailoring your messages to fit the needs of the customer, right? And then the last stage is the advocacy, right? Again, advocacy is all about asking your current customers to tell about their experiences to their friends and family. And the way you can actually do it is, again, taking this as an example, right? Hey, you basically gave us a 5-star rating. Thank you very much. Here is your coupon for your visit for your next time for that particular dish. And by the way, if you let your friends and family know about this offer that we're going to actually have today, um, you will get another 10% off or something like that, and and your friends will also get another 10% off. And obviously, given that, like, the bottom line is that the chatbots can be configured to communicate on a consistent basis and modify the message based on the context, you can actually have a better return than not just sending out some spammy text messages or spammy email messages and all these kind of things, right? So far, we actually talked about the importance of the history and importance of chatbots, and how chatbots can be used across the different stages of customer journey, right? Now, given that we have already made the business case for chatbots, the next topic we're going to cover is how can you go about doing the chatbots, or how, as a business, what should we think about it? Are they very expensive to create? Uh, how should you, even if it's a project, so you need to actually have a real project plan in terms of creating why you need a chatbot, right? Again, given there are a lot of DIY, do-it-yourself websites where one can create a chatbot, right? Some of the platforms like the NLP platforms and all those kind of things. But also there are also other do-it-yourself platforms. or else you can actually hire a third-party resource to create a platform, to create a bot, which obviously as a small business, it might basically be expensive for you uh, because the maintenance and all those kind of things. So for a small business, typically we suggest that use a DIY platform or some other cheaper resources, right? And these are some of the popular builder platforms that are out there. You can also configure your social media links, like for example on Facebook, you can try to see how again how you can actually create the chatbot, like for example automated messages using Facebook Messenger and so on and so forth. Right? Uh, so from a chatbot perspective, right, we have been talking about like how you can actually build it. But from a business point of view, right, before embarking on any project, you need to make sure that it is the right fit for you in the sense that you don't want to create a bot just because someone else is creating a bot, right? So you need to make a business, there has to be some kind of a business justification for you in terms of why you're creating the bot. And these are the things that you need to consider when creating the bot, right? What are your goals for creating the bot? Are you basically trying to create awareness? Are you trying to create engagement? Are you trying to increase sales? Are you trying to increase more members to join your loyalty club? So on and so forth, right? And once you have a clarity in terms of what the goal is, then you can start thinking about which is the best platform for you to do, what is the right channel for you to do this work, right? And what kind of content that you need to actually have so that it is consistent in terms of, okay, I am going to use these kind of roles or these kind of content or FAQs and all those kind of things that we need to actually have. And then obviously you need to actually have a personality for your chatbot, right? Because you want to make sure that the bot actually has some kind of a personality to it, right? Obviously, we've talked about what the goal you have in mind in terms of creating the bot, right? And then we talked about some of the platforms that we've actually used. Uh, we've actually kind of like listed out. You can actually use either Facebook Messenger, do it your own platforms, and what channels you need to actually say. And obviously, it depends on your customers also. Like, for example, we talked about talk about integrated to Slack. Obviously, Slack is used mostly by uh, professionals in workspaces and work environments, and they are basically trying to target those kind of crowd. But if you want to target like end customers or someone, maybe Facebook Messenger might be another platform you want to see. And obviously, the channels, right? We talked about channels being where you want to deploy this about. Can you deploy it on your website, on your social media pages, right? And for example, Twitter direct messaging and all those kind of things. And then you need to actually have some kind of framework around what do you want the customers to get out of this. Like if someone is pinging you on Facebook Messenger, do you want to give them a personalized message or a standard cookie cutter of this one? And what do you want from in terms of like, hey, do you want more people to sign up so that you can actually check in terms of what the results are coming from this particular bot program itself? Obviously, this is like what we're talking about is what kind of personality do you want to give. If you actually look at Mailchimp, their bots are funny, good to look at, and all this kind of things, right? So from a practices point of view, right, you need to make sure that the customer who's actually responding to you or chatting with you, they know that it is a chatbot and it is not a person, because obviously we are not there yet in terms of ability the machine to respond to all the contextual messages and all those kind of things. You need to make sure that there is a call to action, okay, and make sure that you are measuring the metrics in terms of are you able to meet your goals or exceed the goals? If not, why are you not exceeding or reaching your goals and all those kind of things? And make sure that you're actually getting the feedback from customers as to what they feel about interacting with the bot and the goals and all these kind of things. And definitely you need to promote the bot. End of the day, it is another communication tool for you, and making sure that you are promoting the bot. And in terms of making, whenever you need to actually have another degree of follow up with the client, saying that, hey, what do you feel about this particular interaction with you, and all, so on and so forth, so that customers can give you information about this. So, for example, this is the last topic. As we talked about, we have actually created a Facebook bot for birthdays. So the way it would work is it is configured to interact with the fans, and the goal is for us to basically make sure that the customers actually sign up for for the birthday clubs for the for our clients. And this bot is also integrated with the website as well as Facebook page, so that they have the same consistent messaging across these. And we use this one to auto communicate with the Facebook fans, in the sense that we will check in terms of if the person has actually signed up for the birthday message, birthday club or not. And if not, we will start communicating, saying that, hey, get a free X, Y, and Z if you sign up today. And then it also communicates with them with offers or birthday messages and all this kind of thing. So at a very high level, if you look at it, like, the very basic purpose of us creating this bot was we have a very specific goal in mind of increasing birthday subscriptions, because we want to know our customers better. We have chosen Facebook as the mode of channel as well as the website, and we are actually measuring in terms of like how many messages are going out and how many people are actually interacting with it, what are the number of signups that we are getting, and so on and so forth. Right. So in a nutshell, we have covered like in today's topic as to like why a restaurant would need a chatbot, how can you go about building a chatbot, and how can you use the chatbot across different customer engagement life stages. If you have any questions or if anything to do with this topic or any other topic, please feel free to send us an email at marketing@mconnect.com. And then we'll be more than happy to kind of talk with you, and also maybe give you a freedom of the birthday bot. So, um, are there any other questions for me, guys? All right. So at this point of time, I would actually go ahead and, given the lack of time at this point of time, I would go ahead and stop today's topic. Again, feel free to reach out to us in terms of if you have any questions about MConnect or about chatbot marketing, or how to build a chatbot, or in general about anything about to do with small business and or restaurant marketing. Feel free to send us an email at marketing@mconnect.com. And next month, we're going to actually have one more topic, again, related, revolving around restaurants and small business marketing. Um, Thanks everyone for joining the webinar here. And hopefully we'll again chat with you or talk to you guys next month.